Like, question comes from Toronto. Is it blameworthy to have a high sex drive in Al-Islam? Yes and no, I would say, or no and yes. Obviously, the concept of having a sex drive, if you ask me, in my humble opinion, is like a double-edged sword. I think and I feel, and Allah knows best, that part of one's sex drive is totally natural. You're naturally born or made with a high or low or balanced sex drive. Just like someone's naturally tall, naturally short, naturally dark-skinned, naturally fair-skinned, etc. And you can't help that. Like your appetite. Some brothers eat a lot of food. They can't help that. Some brothers, what? They only eat what? A little bit of food. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's natural. That's natural. That's not their blame, right? All right, that's one aspect. But the next aspect is, how have you been raised? What household did you come from in which you developed a taste for really good food and an appreciation? And you always had a lot of food available. And your mother or your grandmother tied you down, strapped you to the chair and said, what? Eat, boy. You understand? So there lies no doubt. You can develop a good appetite. And you develop a taste and an appreciation for what? Halal tayyib. There's nothing wrong with that, huh? Taseen, right? There's nothing wrong with good tayyib food. And a person, he grows up and he works and he has the ability to buy this and eat this and he travels to this country and he develops an even stronger and wider taste for food. There's nothing wrong with that. So the first part of his big appetite is his fault or not his fault? Not his fault. Him developing it and allowing himself to eat more, and I'm not talking about greed. That's another issue. That's his, not fault, but it's his doing, right? And the same applies to one's sex drive. A person is naturally hypersexual. It's a reality among many, many what? People. They're naturally hypersexual. They can't control it. They have an insatiable sex drive. And there's some people who have a very low sex drive. And they're not interested in women. They're not interested in men. They're not interested in sex. There's some people that are married, they have sex once a month. Once every 10 days. That's their own taste. And then there are other people who develop their sex drive, whether it's through watching things that are haram, or listening to things which are haram, or just sexual experiences. You may have a timid brother who marries a very untimid sister. And next thing you know, the brother's what? Turned out. He don't come to the masjid no more. He don't come to the classes no more. Where's brother Fulan? He got married to sister son. Oh, kalas. This is a reality. So him allowing that to happen, or a person doing haram, or gazing and lusting and thinking, or masturbating or watching pornography, or whatever the case may be, that's his what? His doing. And he created that monster and allowed it and unchained it and fed it and made that insatiable greed. Not saying that having a high sex drive is haram or insatiable greed, but everyone understand the point I'm trying to make? So at the end of the day, at the end of the bottom line, all jokes aside, guys, the bottom line is, it's nothing wrong with having a high sex drive as long as you do it in a permissible way. As long as you have self-control. A person may say, I have a high sex drive, but I know the zina is haram, and I stay away from it. I fast, I read the Quran, or I just have self-control. I have taqwa and self-control, khalas. But when I do have sex with my wife or my husband, I enjoy it, so on and so forth. Labas. Everybody's different, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing or haram thing. It's not disliked unless it becomes dominant over you. And it controls your mind and your thoughts and your actions. You become a slave of your sex drive. Then that's not necessarily a natural thing anymore. And that's not necessarily a thing that is okay and you're born with anymore. You're commanded to fight that and to stifle it. But there has to be some way for the water to escape. Irrigation. There is no absolute celibacy in Islam. There's no such thing as a monk in Islam. And a person just devotes himself to God. And no. Allah made you with desires for a reason and for what? A purpose. Now you don't have to have a huge, gigantic flowing river, but it has to be some type of dam and some type of wave trap for the water to what? And then some people have flowing what? Flowing rivers that lead to the ocean, to the sea. And Allah knows best.